how our petty sibling rivalry exposed my family's dark secret. It started with a fight over a vintage jewelry box, but ended with a police investigation. My sister thought she was winning until I opened the false bottom of our past. I stood in the dusty silence of my mother's attic, clutching a small, velvet-lined box that didn't belong to me. My sister, Clara, was downstairs, probably already counting the silverware and deciding which of my mother's paintings would look best in her guest room. Our mother hadn't been gone for more than 48 hours, but for Clara, the grieving period had ended the moment the pulse monitor went flat. Now it was about the spoils. Clara and I have been at each other's throats since the 90s. It started with stolen dolls, then it moved to stolen boyfriends, and finally it became a cold, bitter war over who was the better daughter. I stayed behind in our small Georgia town to take Mom to her chemo appointments. Clara moved to Manhattan to marry a hedge fund manager, and only called when she needed a tax write-off. But as I stood there, looking at this box, I realized our petty little war was about to become the least of our problems. Because what I found inside wasn't jewelry. It was a birth certificate, one with my name on it, but with a mother's name I didn't recognize. I felt the floor tilt beneath my feet. I thought I knew everything about our family. I thought we were just a normal, slightly dysfunctional Southern household. I was wrong. Lily, are you up there? Clara's voice sliced through the silence like a jagged blade. I heard her heels clicking on the wooden stairs. Click, click, click. I didn't have time to hide the box. I didn't have time to process the fact that my entire life might be a lie. Clara stepped into the attic, squinting against the dim light. She looked perfect, as always. Black designer dress, perfectly coiffed hair, not a single tear stain in sight. "What are you doing?" she demanded, her eyes immediately darting to my hands. "Is that the Cartier watch? Mom promised that to me." I looked at her, really looked at her. We shared the same nose, the same high cheekbones. But looking at this paper, I realized we might not share anything at all. "It's not a watch, Clara," I whispered. I held out the paper. She snatched it from me, her lip curling in that habitual sneer. But as her eyes scanned the document, the sneer vanished. Her face went pale. Not the fake, dramatic pale she used to get when she wanted attention, but a sickly gray color that made her look 10 years older. "Who is Sarah Miller?" she asked. Her voice was barely "I don't know," I said. "This says she gave birth to you in a clinic in Vermont." "Lily, we've never been to Vermont." We stood there, two sisters who hated each other, suddenly bonded by a terrifying void where our history used to be. But that wasn't the real secret. I thought the mystery was just about my birth. I thought maybe I was adopted, and Mom just never found the right time to tell me. But then I dug deeper into the box. Underneath the birth certificate was a newspaper clipping from 30 years ago. The headline made my heart stop. "Local infant presumed dead in tragic house fire." There was a photo of a house that looked exactly like the one we were standing in, except the photo showed it charred, blackened, and surrounded by yellow police tape. I looked at Clara. She was staring at the photo, her breath coming in ragged gasps. That's our house," she stammered. "But Mom said they bought this place in the 80s. She said it was new." I turned the clipping over. On the back, someone had scrawled a note in my mother's elegant cursive handwriting. "The fire didn't take her. I did." The attic suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. I realized then that our sibling rivalry, all those years of bickering over who Mom loved more, was a joke. Because Mom didn't love us, Mom was hiding us, and the woman she had buried 2 days ago might not have been our mother at all. I thought that was the end of the revelations, but it wasn't. I started pulling at the floorboards near the chimney. Mom had always told us never to touch that area. She said the wood was rotting. She was lying. I pried up a loose plank and found a heavy, rusted metal tin. Clara knelt beside me, her designer dress ignored as she crawled through the attic dust. We opened the tin together. Inside were hundreds of letters. They were all addressed to the same person, the district attorney, and they were all signed by my father. My father, who supposedly died in a car accident when I was 2. But the letters were dated years after his death. In the letters, he wasn't talking about a car accident. He was talking about a disappearance. He was pleading for someone to help him find his wife and daughters. He was accusing a woman named Alina of stealing his life. Clara gripped my arm so hard her nails drew blood. "Lily, look at the signature." I looked. It wasn't just a name. It was a badge number. My father hadn't been a salesman like Mom always said. He had been a detective, and he had been hunting us for 20 years. I felt a surge of pure, unadulterated fear. If my father was alive, and if Mom or Alina had stolen us, then who was currently buried in the family plot? And more importantly, who was watching us right now? I looked toward the attic window. The sun was setting, casting long, bloody shadows across the yard, and there, parked at the edge of our long driveway, was a black sedan I didn't recognize. It had been sitting there for hours. I realized then that our petty fight over the inheritance had tripped a wire. By opening this box, we had alerted someone who had been waiting for the mother to die so they could finish what started 30 years ago. "Clara, get your keys," I said, my voice steady despite the shaking in my chest. "What? Why?" "Because we're leaving. Now." We ran down those stairs, past the half-packed boxes of silver and silk, past the life we thought we knew. We burst out the front door and ran for Clara's car. As she fumbled with the remote, the door of the black sedan opened. A man stepped out. He was old, his hair white and thinning, but he moved with a precision that didn't match his age. He held up a hand. Not to wave, but to signal. Suddenly, two more cars pulled into the driveway, blocking us in. I thought we were being kidnapped. I thought the secret was finally going to kill us. But then the old man spoke. Lily? Clara? His voice was thick with emotion. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet. He flipped it open. A gold badge glinted in the fading light. "My name is Detective Thomas Miller," he said, "and I've been looking for you since the night the house burned down." I looked at Clara. She was crying now, real, ugly, soul-deep tears. I looked at the man who claimed to be my father, and then I looked back at the house. In the upstairs window, the attic window we had just left, a light flickered, but we had turned the lights off. A silhouette appeared against the glass. It was the shape of a woman. She was holding something. It looked like a match. And that's when everything changed. I realized the mother we buried, the woman we thought was dead, had staged her own funeral. She was waiting for the detective to show up. She was waiting to burn the evidence and us one last time. The house didn't just contain secrets. It was a trap, and we were the bait. Powerful final ending line. We spent our lives fighting over who she loved most, never realizing she was just waiting for the right moment to turn us both to ash. Family secrets can be a death sentence. If you want to hear more stories about the hidden lives of ordinary people, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Have you ever found something in your family history that changed everything? Let me know in the comments below.